Hello, everyone, and welcome to this YouTube Live coming to you from the Community of Living Ethics here in Umbria in Italy. We're delighted that you have been able to join us as we share some thoughts about the science of group work. And I'm joined today by Marina Bernardi, who is the president of the Community of Living Ethics, and myself, Lorraine Flower, a member of the Community of Living Ethics. And we're delighted to be sharing some thoughts, some insights, and we welcome any questions. So on YouTube, you are able to post questions if you would like to, and towards the end of our time today, we'll try and answer those or make some comments on anything you've said. So please do feel free to do that. But for now, we'll get underway with sharing some of our thoughts. And the science of group work, of course, sounds very, very technical, perhaps, for many people, but we're all very familiar with being in groups of different sorts, whether it's our family group, whether it's a community group or a work group. In many different ways, we participate in groups in our lives. And so I'm going to open this session up by asking Marina to share a little bit with us about the structure and formation of groups and invite us to maybe think about groups in a slightly different way. So Marina, can I invite you to share some of your wisdom in this area?
Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, we utilize the word group for any ensemble of people, usually, in our common language. While actually the word group has a specific meaning. We can speak of a group only when there is a common goal, a common purpose to be fulfilled, and a conscious common purpose. Not just a subconscious common purpose. Otherwise, we can speak of a crowd, and there is a difference between the crowd and the group. In this way, the group becomes like a macro individual, is an individuality, but a macro one, a big one, a larger one, which includes all people who are part of that specific group and who share the same common purpose or goal, and therefore they are connected among them through this purpose. And as a macro being, the group has all the components, all the parts which are those of any being. Therefore, a group has three bodies. They are called the three lower bodies. Lower not because they have less value, but because they are those who are necessary for the group to ground, to live on Earth, to live a manifested life on Earth and in forms. And these three lower bodies are, first of all, the physical body, the second is the emotional body, and the third is the mental body. Like any other being, like an individual, like a person, a group has these bodies as well. And then a group has a central self, a personal self, which is the center, the very center from which all the group activities, the group choices, the group life, the group awareness starts. And a group has a soul, a group soul. And then I will see what I mean for each of these parts. And a group spirit. Therefore, we have 5 components, 5 different levels, starting from the lower level, which is the physical body of a group regards its physical life, therefore its physical body, which is the coming together, the ensemble of all the physical bodies of the members, of the group members. But it includes also the physical life of the group. Therefore, the rhythm of the group life in terms of meetings, spaces, how the group occupies, fills the space in which it meets. It's all part of the physical body of the group, how the relationship with external space too, the setting, no? We say the setting, how we meet, for example, do we meet sitting or standing, in a circle or in rows? This is part of the physical body of the group. And is the group well enough, or is the group tired or disturbed? The group physical body, tired or disturbed, is vital or is passive. And this is the physical body. Obviously, there is a lot to discover, just starting from the physical body, a lot to observe and to be discovered. Then there is the emotional body, the body of the emotions and feelings, which is that part of the group which allows it to feel inner psychic states. Therefore, we can see that starting from the physical body into the emotional body, the emotional body is subtler, it's a subtle body, while the physical body is very visible, very manifested. The emotional body is more hidden, but it's visible to expert eyes, especially to expert eyes. We can become able to distinguish what the emotional state of a group is, which is obviously the sum of the emotional states of all the members. But it includes also the emotional states that are developed there in that specific group experience. Therefore, the emotional body of a group includes the emotional states with whom each member comes to the group, to a group meeting. Let's take an example, a group meeting. The emotional states that every person brings with her into that group field, plus all the interlaced relationships, all what happens there during the meeting as effect of the interconnection, the emotional interconnection, reciprocal stimulation, reciprocal reaction of all the group members. Then we have a mental body, which is again, it includes the mental state that every person takes with her coming into the group, plus the common thoughts, common ideas, common ideologies, common beliefs that the group develops when together. Therefore, the mental state includes all what belongs to the mental realm, therefore ideas, visions, intuitions, thoughts, prejudices, from the lowest level up to the higher level of intuition, of inspiration. All this is part of the mental body of the group. And again, we can say that in order to recognize what the mental state of a group is, we have to observe the group. Time is needed to understand what is the dominant ideology in that group. What are the beliefs coming from the past, for example, the conviction, that the group takes with itself. Then we come to the self, the self of the group, the central self, or we say in Italian, the I of the group, which is that center of the group psychic, is the coordinating point of all what is there in that group structure. Therefore, what is there as physical postures or states, as emotional states, as mental states, but it's also the point of connection and coordination with higher levels, like the soul and the spirit. And therefore, this personal I, the central self, the central self of the group is extremely important. Extremely important. Obviously, it cannot be there at the very beginning of a group life. It has to be developed, discovered through a certain path, a certain pathway. Then we have the group soul. The group soul is the ensemble of all the group qualities, which again are the qualities that each person brings into the group, plus the qualities that the group together develops in its in and through its own activity. And the group soul gives the note, the deep note of the group. Each group has our own note, own dominant, prevailing characteristic, which is given by the note of the group soul. And then we have the spirit, the group spirit, which is simply the group purpose, the group highest reason to be alive, to have come to life. Therefore, you see, starting from the group structure, the group psychic structure, there is a lot to be discovered. And this vision is a psychoenergetic vision, because it includes outer manifestations, but also energetic expression of the group, the feelings, the thoughts, the ideals are energetic aspects of the group, and the purpose is on the level of energy. Therefore, we have a part which is psychic, psychoenergetics, and a part which is an energy. Therefore, if we put the two together, we have a psyche and a level of energy. The psyche in a group is all what has already been explored, known, manifested. The energy is that level which has not been manifested yet, not been touched, not been experienced yet. And therefore, this psychoenergetic exploration of a group is really a very attracting, for me, is attracting, and for us, for many of us, attracting adventure. Which requires, as I said before, requires time, requires curiosity, requires the courage of exploring more of human life than what we can experience just through our own psyche, our own consciousness, or through the field of our usual normal relationships, which include family relationships, friends, and so on. And the group is a further step in deepening and expanding our field of relational contacts. It's an exciting experience, and also because a group being composed by many different people. A group is always rich of different aspects and qualities, thoughts, feelings. It's a much richer reality than the individual one. And therefore, a good group experience allows the person to expand the experience of oneself through this enrichment, which is offered by the group experience, the group that group specific group experiment, and therefore it's a huge opportunity for each of us. And because it accelerates a lot the growth, the inner growth, the self-development. A group is a great opportunity of faster and wider self-development and deeper self-development. Exactly because it offers a field which is much richer, and we can also mirror each other with each other. We can mirror ourselves in the mirror, in the image we have and the contact we have with every single person and with the group as a whole. Therefore, this reciprocal mirroring, it's a way through which we can learn a lot of ourselves. We can understand a lot of ourselves. We can experience much more of ourselves through this reciprocal mirroring and reciprocal support in transforming ourselves, and through sharing. In a group life, sharing is extremely important. To share what is there, what we are living, to share, to put in common, creating a rich communality, a rich crucible where we can pour whatever is there in us, so that it becomes richness for all people being part of that group. So there is a lot to say and to tell about about a group. We could go on hours and hours, but I don't want to bore you. Yes, I would like to hear from, at this point, from Lorraine, because we have said many interesting aspects. Now the potentialities of a group are high, are huge, but how to accompany a group to fulfill this level of richness and of opportunities, because it's a state of potentiality, but then we have to come to that point of real expression of that potentiality. And I would like that Lorraine enters a little in this, how to get there.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you. I'm sure, like many of the people who are listening to us today, I'm digesting all that you've offered us about the nature of groups and the qualities and the elements that are at play in a group. And yes, that question about how do we navigate, how do we support ourselves in a group space to be as effective as we can be, and to realize the benefits that you've outlined there. And we all know that even in our own individual lives, it can be challenging enough to deal with all of those different parts of ourselves, the mental, emotional and physical, the soul and the spirit connections that we have. And so we're multiplying that within the group space. And here in the community, we work a lot with a practice that we call focalization, which is not a word that you would typically find used every day. And so I just want to say a little bit about that. Focalization is the ability to lead groups that are often divergent, that have this diversity that Marina was talking about, and the richness that she was talking about. And even though they're aligned around a common goal, that all those moving parts that we can imagine on the physical, mental, emotional level individually, and the many people in the group, how do we help those often divergent energies to come together toward that common goal? And not only just to follow a pattern, but to amplify, to really expand the quality that is brought to that goal. And we may often think here about the role of the leader and think, well, isn't that what the leader does? The leader basically helps a group to come into formation and move towards that common goal. But with focalization, we're not talking about leadership in the traditional sense that we might think about, because with focalization, we're not looking to create uniformity in that sense. We're looking to help the group help itself to harness all of those qualities and characteristics and values. And as those are harnessed, to bring those to a higher level of expression, as this entity that Marina was describing. How does that entity grow and become even more impactful in the delivery of its goal or its purpose? So it's a very organic, very dynamic space. And so we talk here about the role of a focalizer. So it could be an individual, although it can be many individuals within a group that undertake this function of focalizing. The ability to focalize a group is much more than organizing it on the physical level or creating systems and structures in that sense, in the familiar sense. Those are all crucially important, as Marina has said. But when we speak about the role of the focalizer, we're speaking about someone, a number of people. It can be in any group, but certainly let's consider it in the individual sense for now. The ability to firstly focalize oneself. So to enter into this practice of focalizing, we first have to be able to focalize to at least a reasonable degree our own bodies, our own mental, emotional, physical bodies with our soul. And so we come hopefully to at least a reasonable and partial level of integration and ability to be self-disciplined, I would say, in that space, to apply self-discipline to our own individual way of moving in the world and moving within a group. So the focalizer has to first of all do that work within themselves and be on a constant journey of self-discipline and self-development, so that they are able to be as useful an instrument as possible in guiding and accompanying the group in its own development. The focalizer also has to take this very transpersonal route that Marina was describing, that ability to understand and sense the things that are moving, not only within themselves, because they, as the focalizer, the aim is to be as impersonal as possible, to be in contact with what is moving in the group, but also to be able to sense the energy, sense what is moving. Marina spoke about the hidden emotional body, but which of course has many impacts on the way that a group is able to function. And there's also all that potential that sits in the higher energetic field, that potentiality that the focalizer is helping the group to connect to, not by telling the group, but by accompanying the group in quite subtle ways through that sensing, through the sensing that the focalizer is able to tap into through their own instrument and in relation to the group. So being able to read the group field and to know what is moving, and any of you in the group that are listening here today who've been in a leadership, or currently you are maybe in a team leadership position, or you've been the person at the front of a group, you will know, even on very everyday levels, all those things that we have to attend to within a group, and how things are feeling, and who's in a good place and who's not in a good place. Well, the focalizer is paying attention to all of those things and energetically holding that higher point of focus on the purpose, and through their own instrument, helping those energies to circulate to a higher point of resolution. And that is quite a powerful process when we're able to do that well, not because we have power over the group, but because the group itself is able to come into a new level of relationship and resonance with those energies that are moving. So focalization is, when we talk about the science of group work, focalization is a practice that we can learn, that we can come into a higher level of capability with, and we can actually accompany the group to its higher potential. Now, we can say more about focalization as we can about everything, and Marina may well add something more as well when I hand the floor back to her, which I'm about to do. So she may add some things as well, in particular because I think it's really important that we think about, why is this useful? Why is it important now, in this time in human development, that we think about groups in this new way? Why is it that we think about that potential of groups and the influence that groups can potentially have in our world? And so I'm going to invite Marina to say a bit about that and add anything to what I've shared so far. So thank you, Marina.
Yes, thank you, Lorraine, also for this interesting question. Because why all of a sudden groups have become so important in our society? There are many initiatives about groups now. Recently, in this last few years, they increased a lot. Why? But first of all, because we are entering a new epoch, whose characteristics will be relation, brotherhood, union, synthesis, cooperation, learning how to work together, and therefore a lot which has to do with groups. And the new epoch requires us to respond its characteristics and to keep ready, to become ready to respond in the best way possible. And as in the last century, the individual psychology was developed from the end of the 19th century, and the whole of last century could see so many new developments about individual psychology, so that human beings could find instruments and ways to know themselves, to transform themselves, to adapt, to better adapt to their own life. At the same way, now we need group psychology, group psychoenergetics, instruments. We need instruments to know better what a group is and the reality of a group and how a group can transform itself and, as Lorraine said, can develop its core potentiality. The group potentiality is obviously much higher, much more intense than the individual one. And therefore, it could give humanity many more opportunities to transform itself, because if we can even just imagine a planet where many groups are there, and each group self-aware, able to create and to unite itself, and then to create people able to create together, we can just easily imagine what kind of impact this would have on our society. There is this aspect which is a very serious problem nowadays of separativity, so people people and peoples living separate one from the other, sometimes isolated and very often in conflict. And all this problem of isolation and loneliness can be faced only through living a nourishing group life, a group life which is meaningful, which is based on reciprocal good exchanges, reciprocal good learning together, and creating together. And therefore, it's a very good, I would say, it's a weapon of light against the separativeness, which is the main problem of our present society. And we can very easily observe this in our daily planetary life. And therefore, the group is an instrument of acceleration of evolution, both for individuals and for the whole society. Therefore, it will become more and more important in next decades, more and more important. And I believe that everybody will be called to become sensitive to group life, and to not just becoming sensitive to it, but even becoming able to be an agent of creation of a good, positive, effective group life. And therefore, there will be a lot of advantages for us, for each of us, and for us as humanity. And so, but there is a lot to learn, but it's a joyful learning, because a group life usually is also a joyful one. And when there are conflicts and misunderstandings, there are always an opportunity to understand more, to go deeper in ourselves. If the group life is, if that group life is a good group life, effective group life. But in order to reach this, to achieve this effectiveness, we need to develop good instruments, good knowledge about it. And therefore, it's an exciting path, the one of group. And not by chance, we gave it the name of science of group work, because it's even a science to be approached and to be learned in order to expand our human consciousness. And therefore, all of us wish ourselves that more and more group will be born on the planet, and more group aimed towards the good. Because a problem can be that there are many groups which are aimed, they are committed towards something which is not good. And very often they are much better organized than the groups who long for the good. And therefore, and the results are visible to all of us, how potent are certain groups on the planet based on personal private interests, which don't take care of the needs of others. And we are called to counteract, to act in opposition with this well-organized groups, but aimed, committed towards what is not good. And we are called to form groups who are potent groups, effective groups, but dedicated to the common good, dedicated to achieve as much as possible the common good, the good for all, the best good for all. But we need to be together in order to succeed in doing this, being together and being well organized in a way that no energies are dispersed. Because if we are not well organized as groups, a lot of energies they get dispersed, and we waste them. And in order to become able to be effective, we have to learn how to save energy, how to utilize at best all of our energy and all of our potentialities. This is group focalization. Again, I point out, I highlight even more what Lorraine already said. Group focalization is about learning how, first of all, how to be a good group member, because the initial learning is this one. How can I become a good, effective, creative group member? And then the next step is, how can I become a good group leader or group focalizer? A person who is able to form a group, to give birth to a group, and to accompany it towards its best fulfillments. This is group focalization. And therefore it's a beautiful adventure. And I pass again to Lorraine if she would like to say again something, how to do this, because what opportunities are there to learn to become a group focalizer, a group leader, and to learn how to live rich group experiences. Lorraine, do you have an idea what one could do in order to achieve this?
Yes, thank you, Marina. Thank you. Well, the first thing I wanted to say is, again, as I was reflecting on your sharing, was is that of course, the community is a living experiment in group life, and for 42 years we've been exploring and seeking to understand all of these dynamics of group life, and not just in the abstract sense, but in the applied sense, in the projects, the activities that we're involved in, and how to be a good group member, as you said, and that's a constant process of learning and education, and day by day each step gives us new information. And so in many respects, I guess that is amongst many things what has led us to set up the School of Focalisation here in the community, which has been running for many years in Italian, and indeed now for a decade or so in English as an international school. And it's probably just worth taking a moment to speak about that, because I know when I first participated in that school, I thought, well, I think I probably know quite a lot about how to support a group, how to be with a group. But the many different levels that we've only touched on briefly here today are a whole new perspective on how groups can access that potential and potentiality, and how we can ensure that we don't disperse the energy that Marina was talking about. And this school, which we'll put some more information up as we come to the end of this live, but the school runs for 18 months, and the international school, and starts off with a week in physical presence in the community in Umbria. So a wonderful location to come and do some study and some learning, and some practice, and then is followed by some about 15 months of online sessions, and culminates in a full in-person week again here in the community in Italy. And it really is intended for those people who resonate with the idea that groups are a really, really significant and important part of human evolution, that groups are going to be called upon more and more to have an impact on the quality of the world we are creating, and that greater good. And for those people who feel that, whether in current formal groups, or maybe in groups that you're intending to set up in the future, or maybe even by being a better group member, you have a sense that you could get some value from understanding more about those psychoenergetics of the group, the soul life of a group, the attunement and alignment with the purpose at a higher level. All of these are aspects that would be explored in the program from an individual level and from the collective group level. So there would be opportunity for that. So that would be my encouragement, is come and join us. We start in April next year, April 25th will be when we get underway. So there's time still to sign up for that if what we've said here today is interesting to you. But I would say, on a personal level, in response to your question, Marina, about, well, how do we do that? I think the first thing is really starting to pay attention to all of those parts that are moving within ourselves, and how we show up within a group. What impact does it have for us when we're in a group on the way we think, the way we feel, our physical body? Does it energize us? Does it drain us? In what way and how? And what can we learn by being in that group dynamic that we can start to pay attention to individually, that could be enabling us to be a better group member, a more effective group member? And if we can all hold that in our minds, we will already be making a very big step towards the quality of groups. If we can then add to that this more structured role, if you will, of the focalizer, then I think we will make some really significant progress in the way in which groups function in our world today towards the greater good. So I'm just going to check in and see whether we have any comments that, nope, I think we haven't had any comments come through yet, so that's fine. We are going to come towards the end of our live now. So Marina, before I just summarize or synthesize, anything you want to add from anything that we've said so far? I know we could go on for weeks on this subject.
Yeah. The temptation to go on is great, but yes, it's wiser to stop here. That's saying that we hope to see many of you participating in the Focaliser School, because the Focaliser, I would say, for how I have experienced it so far in my life, it's really one of the roles of the servers of the future, one of the functions that any server should learn, because we have to learn more and more to work through groups, with groups, in intergroup cooperation, and therefore we have to develop knowledge about it, knowledge, light, understanding. And so I hope that we will have the opportunity to live this adventure of this new learning together.
Thank you.
It's always a learning. For whatever one has learned, there is always something else to learn. A group life never ends. No, never. You never come to a point where you say, now I relax. I know enough. It's never enough. There is always something else to learn, and therefore I heartfully hope that we can go on learning together.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, so thank you all for being present with us today. We really appreciate that, and this will be posted on YouTube on our channel, Community of Living Ethics channel on YouTube. So do check us if you need to or want to listen again to anything we've said, or share this with co-workers, friends, people who you think might be interested in some of the points that we've shared here today. Please do pass that link on to other people, and just to really remind us all that we are part of many different groups, and the number of groups will grow. And if we have a vision for a better world, which I know most people in the world do, we all want to be able to create a loving world where we're all able to express our full potential and full quality into the world, then being part of a group in an effective way, in a joyful way, in a loving way, but also in a way that really harnesses all of the qualities and capabilities. This is the future. This is what the future requires of us, needs from us. And so we'd love to see you come and be part of the program. And even if you don't join that, we hope that there's been something in what we've shared today that has just triggered a new thought for you in your learning about groups and group work. But for now, from Marina and myself, we'd both like to say thank you and goodbye for now.